Have you ever wondered why we seem to repeat the same mistakes despite the lessons of the past? Isn't it curious that we always insist on learning the hard way? Why do we keep on repeating the same mistakes that so many others before us have already done? We all live our lives as we were the first ones to ever face the problems that we stumble upon. How to break up with someone, how to say I love you when you should arrive at a party, how to drive a manual car, what to say when a friend have a bad breath, how often you should apply sunscreen, when to sit quiet, who you should call first when you have done something you should not have done. And the list, my friends, is endless. Imagine the hours spared, the headaches evaded, the heartaches averted, and the sunburns avoided, if we simply could absorb the wisdom of those who have walked the path before us. And yet, so many books, so many articles, so many parents, so many friends, so many movies, so many YouTube videos is trying to pass on their insights to spare us from walking into the same pitfalls as them. But still, we keep on repeating them. We keep on doing the same mistakes and we learn every lesson the hard way. Echoing the wise words of Adam Mastroianni, we cannot reach our brain through the ears. This is the video that will teach you why you will never learn anything from this video. The primary obstacle in our strivings to pass on knowledge and to absorb knowledge from others is our innate diversity. Each of us has a unique tapestry of experiences, genetics, and perspectives that makes us inherently different from each other. When I am constructing an argument and trying to teach you something, I will always start from my perspective. I will delve into my own background and my own experiences. What is the most important part of this lesson according to me? How did I learn this? How will someone like me be able to understand the thing I want to explain? Even though we want to reach someone else's brain, we construct our arguments after our own. This is a very common and forgivable error, because we have no other basis point to start with other than our own minds. We must acknowledge our limitations. We are, after all, bound to our own minds. Our inner workings will be a mystery to others, with the keys only held by ourselves. Similarly, we will never fully understand even the ones closest to us. There will always be a spiritual distance between us. This makes it very difficult for me to learn you anything, because we are fundamentally different from each other. Our individuality should also make us careful when trying to change other people's minds. If I think that your ideas are wrong or incorrect, I should pause and reflect first. I must try to understand why you think as you do. Because one thing is for certain, each belief, no matter how profound to the outsider, is grounded in reason according to the holder of these beliefs. It would be a grave misjudgment to assume that I can change someone's mind by stating why I think they are wrong. Just think about how many who have tried to change someone else's political views by approaching them and explaining why they are wrong. How many Biden supporters have carefully explained to a Trump supporter why he or she is wrong? They have brought their very best arguments and presented the facts of why the other person must change their opinion. How many do you think have succeeded in making them change their minds? I would guess the answer is very close to 0. Everyone has their own story to tell, and when confronted about their beliefs, you will find a compelling and coherent story of how their thoughts fit into their reality. Everyone holds a tapestry of experiences, perceptions, and circumstances that is unique to all of us. To label some perspectives as wrong is to oversimplify the complexity of human thought. Do not make a fool out of yourself by thinking someone is stupid for their ideas. They have their reasons. Should you walk in their shoes, you would find yourself following the same train of thought. Thinking that we are all the same is a mistake when we try to teach or try to change minds. Our divergence goes beyond the inside of our minds and extends into how we perceive the world around us. When presented the same information, it adapts to our own individual lens, making us interpret the world around us differently. The exact same information will be understood in two different ways by you and me. We have our own biases and understandings. When we are presented new information, this information will only make our prior biases and understandings even stronger. It is like we have our own puzzle inside our heads. This puzzle describes how we think the world works. When new information comes in the form of new pieces, some pieces will not fit into our puzzle. To rearrange the puzzle, or to start again to make everything fit, is too tiresome and too difficult. Instead, we ignore the pieces that does not fit into our current puzzle. We throw away them and only use the ones that will easily fit. Do you think this behavior is short-sighted and ignorant? You are correct. But make no mistakes, we all share this human fallibility. Roland Fryer is a professor of economics at Harvard University. He made an experiment where a group of people was divided into two groups based on their beliefs. People who believed that climate change was man-made, and people who believed that climate change was not man-made. Before the experiment, they asked the groups how sure they were of themselves that they were right. Then, the different groups were presented the exact same information about climate change and its causes. After they were given the information, they were asked again of how sure they were about being right. Both groups were even more certain that they were right and the others were wrong. They were given the exact same information, but left the experiment more polarized than when they got there. Later, Fryer repeated the experiment with people who were for and against the death penalty. Again, he found the exact same result. New information only intensified pre-existing beliefs and made the participants more polarized. So, what is the point of our exploration of the human mind? Should we stop trying to share wisdom to others to save them from doing the same mistakes? Should elder and more experienced people cease their endeavor in passing down their wisdom to younger generations? Should we abandon our attempts in convincing others to change their mind, even when we know for a certain that their beliefs are wrong? Not necessarily. The point of this video is not that all our efforts are in vain, that our quest to learn from one another is all for nothing. Instead, it underscores the incredible difficulty of passing along knowledge to someone else, and to highlight the fantastic achievement it is when you succeed in absorbing other people's wisdom as your own. It demands a teacher that seeks to understand the mind of the student, Without an understanding of the mind they are trying to reach, the teacher becomes helpless. It also requires a student that is willing and available for receiving the knowledge that is given to them. To reach the brain through the ears is a great challenge, and we should be humble in our expectations for success. But to try, and to try again, is a noble and brave pursuit. And perhaps that is the best we can do.